Hey guys, what's going on? It's Retro, and today I'm making a video that I've been wanting to make for a very long time, and that is why I think, in my personal opinion, that Deepworld failed, the reason why it died, and why the player base is significantly lower than it was before. Now, I broke it down into two categories. The first is gameplay, reasons that happened in the gameplay of why it's not as popular. And the first, and I think the biggest one in my opinion, would be the change in art style. Now, the initial years after Deepworld's release, its art style was beautiful. It really kind of had a rustic, post-apocalyptic feel to it. It gave the game character. It was beautiful. I loved it. And then they changed it. They changed it to this cartoony look that you're seeing now, and it really took away from the game itself. Honestly, even though the graphics are better, per se, than they were before, it took away the game's character and the look and feel. Like this, honestly, I'm not even over-exaggerating when I say I feel like it took the soul out of the game. And a lot of the fan base felt that way. They did not approve of the change in the art style. But here we are, and yeah. So the other reason is there's no replayability, basically. Unless you play this game for social reasons, which I know a lot of people did. I sure did when I played this game back in the day. And unless you played for those reasons, though, there's nothing to do in this game, honestly. As far as mining and looking for resources in that aspect of the game, there's hardly anything, because the way it works is that new worlds are released on a certain time frame, but it takes a while. It takes a while for a new world to come out, and as soon as it does, everybody jumps right into it, and before you know it, it's pretty much already explored by like the ridiculous amounts of players that like infested it like as soon as it dropped, like, because it wasn't a common occurrence for a new world to drop. So yeah, that happened, and once the world was like depleted, which only took like 10-15 minutes, then there wasn't anything to do like until a new world came out. And it's kind of upsetting that they decided to make the game work like that. I wish that it would have been more like you can mine with your friends and just like pretty much have infinite worlds to explore. That would have made the game much better, and I'm sure everybody would have liked that more, but it's not what they did. So a lot of people got bored and a lot of people quit. It's also very poorly optimized for other devices. If you look at the Android device, which is what you're saying now, the jetpack animation, everything is just inferior to the iOS version, and the same goes for Windows, which was actually kind of shocking to me, because when you're releasing a game on a platform, like going from mobile to Windows is a pretty big deal. And when they released the Windows version of this game, it was filled with bugs and bad graphics, bad graphical glitches, all of that stuff, and it was giving a terrible first impression of Deepworld to PC users, and a lot of them didn't like it because of that, and it just like steered away a big percentage of people who heard about Deepworld and decided to boot it up on their PC, and then they saw that it looked like crap, so they never played it again. Now I'm going to talk about player base and developer reasons why this game failed. And I'm going to start with something that we have to factor in, and that's player-based decay over time. Every single game has this. At the launch, it's like this big hyped up thing, and then it might have a few more glorious periods after that, like maybe after updates where it reaches peak amounts of players and stuff like that. But most games decay in player base count over time, and Deepworld definitely was one of them, and that's something that we have to factor in. However, that's not an excuse, because if the rest of these reasons on this list did not exist, then it would have a lot more players than it does now. The next thing I'm going to talk about is false promises. Now, over its development cycle, the developers were very fond of making false promises and to get everybody's hopes up for things that weren't going to happen. And the best examples of this are the ocean and jungle biomes. Now, they showed images of a jungle and ocean biome back in 2015. When everybody asked when these were going to get released, the developer said soon. It's coming out soon, guys. Don't worry about it. Soon it will be released. And it never happened. The time came and went, and people just ended up losing hope that these things were ever going to be released. And this gained a lot of distrust for the developers, because nobody knew what they said like was actually going to be put in the game or not. Also, the developers work on this game part-time. Not sure if everybody knows this, but the developers work full-time on the side along with part-time for Deepworld. That's the reason why there's big gaps in new and fresh content, and also a very important reason of why this game never turned out being as good as it could have been, and why a lot of people quit. Also had a very confusing direction. It seemed like the developers never really knew what direction they should take this game. It seemed like they were struggling for new ideas, and that's also a big factor to consider. And one of the saddest ones is low fan base interaction. Now I'm talking about the developers interacting with the fan base, with the player base, talking to them, addressing their concerns and stuff like that. And you may be like, I mean, it's not that bad. Mike posts on the forums, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me take you back to 2013 to 2015. Back in those days, the developers were all over the forums. They were in the game. You'd be able to find them in the game. And one of my favorite things that they did was actually on their YouTube channel, where they would post dev diaries. And these dev diaries were awesome because they showed you inside their little office where, like, what exactly they were working on for the day. It'd be a lighthearted video, like, it wasn't like edited or anything. There wasn't any flashy animations. It wasn't really used to build hype. It was just used to interact with the fan base, and it was awesome. I loved watching those. Those were my favorite things the developers have ever done, and it's honestly such a big shame that they stopped that. And really, the low interaction just made players like not know what is going to happen to this game, and a lot of them just stopped playing because of that. So yeah, guys, that about wraps it up. Those are all of the reasons on why I think Deepworld died. If you have different reasons, or if you disagree with me, put your comment in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, I've been trying to make this video for a long time now, and I just got around to doing it. So I hope you guys like it. Put a lot of time into thinking of these reasons, and yeah, see ya.